Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua. We are very excited to host episode 4. It's been a journey. If you haven't listened to the previous episodes, I know actually you should listen, so you can follow us on YouTube at NimeGrow Podcast. Every episode, we're taking a different turn. We have talked education, we have talked art, and now we're doing finance, which I think is a very interesting topic for everyone. And today I have Charity, who is a guest with us today. It will be interesting. I know she has a lot to tell us. So, Charity, karibu sana. Please introduce yourself and tell us what you do. Who is Charity?
All right. Thank you so much, Joshua. It's such a pleasure to be hosted by you. So, Charity Mbithe is a born-again Christian. I'll start with that. I really love God. So what I do right now, I'm the Public Relations and Communications Assistant at Centonomy. And before, I've worked as the digital communication strategies at A+ Interiors Design. It's an interior design company. Yes, a little bit of my educational background, especially high school and campus. I studied in Machakos Girls High School, and then I got to study at Moi University, main campus, where I took communication, a Bachelor of Science in Communication and Journalism. And here we are today.
Nice, awesome. Actually, I never knew you went to Machakos Girls. Anyway, that's awesome. How is Moi? We met sometimes in Moi as well. Like, how was your experience in Moi University main campus?
Oh, I loved Moi. I think when you first get the invitation letter and you think it's Moi University, I had a few choices. I really loved to go to UN, but then life nigani, so I found myself in Moi. At first, I wasn't all psyched up, but then with time, I think the environment that you are exposed to sort of pushes yourself, it helps you push yourself beyond what you thought you could do. So for me, it was a journey of self-realization and actualization, and just being able to realize who I was, trying things out, just trying to be active, and keeping the days going. So I really loved the experience. The classes were great. I got to join so many clubs. There was the East Africa Youth Parliament.
Yeah, true.
And I like that because it exposed me to so many debates and inter-campus activities. We also had Concert Family. We had I was a Unilever brand ambassador, so we also got a lot of gigs from that. And also we had Kenya Television Service, which is a TV station that is at Moi University, like for Moi University students who are pursuing any course related to media and journalism. So it was a great experience. It was really, really great, a great experience. The place ni Ushago, but thank God.
It was nice. So after campus, how was the transition from like working to like the job environment? I know it can be like a rough journey when you're trying out many companies, you're sending out applications. I think personally, there's a time I was applying to companies and I did apply to 15 companies. So what I had was like a wall, and then I had the names of the companies, and then if I get a reply and it's a no, then I just cross it. So by the end of it, I crossed 14 of them, and only 1 out of 15 actually called me for an interview, and like that's what I was like I worked for. So do you have any similar experiences? How is the Kenyan job market and the transition from school to work?
All right, so I'll speak from my experience. So I have tarmacked before. Oh, it wasn't a good journey. So I remember that was in campus though, when we were just breaking for attachment after that year. So like I mentioned, I did communication and journalism. So we were supposed to go for attachment, and trust me, it was it was tough. I remember I printed out, I used to have when I say used to, it means my CV in campus, and right now they're two totally different things. So when I was in campus, I used to include little thing I did in campus in my CV. So I had like 7 pages or 8 pages of CV. So I printed like 20 or so copies. Wow. So I went dropping everywhere. Like I just, I had been sort of discouraged because I have siblings who have been trying to look for jobs. By then, that is back then, we had been trying to look for jobs and they were unsuccessful. So I decided to do it physically. You know how there's that physical touch or something. Tarmacs in town. I think that's where I sort of knew Nairobi properly, because any tall building I see, I have to go to the receptionist, ask all the companies that are available there, and then just drop CV depending on the organizations. So I did tarmac a lot during that time, but I bumped into my class rep who was actually headed to Bazaar. There's a Moi University campus at Bazaar, Nairobi. So being that I was too tired from the walk, I just told him, let me take you wherever you're going. So he was going to meet a lecturer from Nairobi campus. So I just told the lecturer, what, I've been looking for an attachment route. I think that was the third day or so. Yeah, so he was like, what course are you taking? Yeah, I told him communication and journalism. And the good thing, he had been working with MediaMax. MediaMax is the host for K24, People Daily, Milele FM. Yeah, so he was happy to refer me there. So I just went, and the next day I started my attachment. That was like another breakthrough of another level, but I had really worked out to just source for an experience. So I would say that's the only bit of tarmacking I've had, because after campus, I wouldn't say I've quite much tarmacked.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think it's good to note out how we're not saying, I think the point is, we're not saying it's hard to get a job, or like we shouldn't like apply, like struggle to get jobs. So like how can I put it bestly? The point is, people really have to work hard and try out many places, send out applications to many companies, and at least hope one of them is going to work. Because I know there are people who only sent like to two, maybe two of them. You might get it there, but I think it's good to try many companies as well. Or what do you think?
Actually, I sort of have a contrary opinion. You see, after a sort of review, I realized that I was doing it wrong. You see what I did back then? I just printed out as many CVs as I could and dropped at any company I thought could hire me.
Yeah.
The first mistake I did is, before you send out a job application, you have to identify where do you want to work.
Yeah.
What's the culture there, and what's the spec of work? What are the specs of work that you want to, or the terms of work that you want, so that you don't just settle for anything that comes your way. So you have to be precise. As much as people say there are limited jobs, you also have to choose your employer. You have to choose the person that you want to work with. You have to choose where you want to go. So that's the first mistake I did. So afterwards, after campus, honestly, I've only made 2 job applications. Wow. So the first one was, I don't even remember which one it was, but in 4th year, this something I didn't mention. So before I got that attachment at MediaMax, I had a friend of mine who had who's, I think their dad or something, family friend, was is the founder of A+ Interiors or something like that. So yeah, they referred me there. I did the job application. I did the internship application. I went there and I secured the place. So I worked there for 1 day or so. That is during my attachment. And then my supervisor told me that I couldn't continue with that place because it's an interior design company. Yeah. And with my field and spec of work, I'm supposed to look for experience in the media field. So I had to leave that place. Then in my 4.2, my second semester in 4th year, they called back and they're like, yo, we have a place, are you done with campus? I told them I was just about to finish in May, because I finished my campus in May last year. Yeah, so they told me, if you want, you can come and you can, agree on some terms and you can start off. So I really thank God that came through without applying, but it was sort of applied because I did that during my attachment in that year. And so that's how the first job as a digital specialist at communication specialist at A+ Interiors came about. Yeah. Then while I was in A+ Interiors, I did 1 job application to Centonomy. I remember it must have been a Thursday after evening when I got home from A+. Yeah, so there's a time you get in your life where you just feel like you want to go to the next level, or even you just want a new experience or so. So I applied, and by God's grace, I got a reply. I got an email maybe on Friday or Monday. It didn't even take long. So I had been invited for the interview. I went for the interview. It was tough. I won't lie, it was really tough. In fact, I didn't even think I would get it, but somehow I think there's a beauty in being you, just be you. Yeah, and I think somehow you have things your way. So yeah, I think as much by the time I made this application to Centonomy, I was in a position of, I knew where I would want to be employed, why I would be employed there, what I would want to do there, something that would make me happy and something that would make me more content. So yeah, I would say that's why maybe it came through. But that thing of applying anywhere and everywhere, honestly, I wouldn't advise it. You need to know who you want to hire you, know your employer, know where you want to work, what spec of work you want to do. Like, for example, communication is it has a whole, like, there's so much into it. Yeah, so there's a PR, there's social media, there's media relations, there's so many. So just be precise on what you want to do. And even as you do, that will guide you in where you want to apply. So yeah, that's what I would say. Just know where you want to go.
Nice. That's a good thought. I agree. I agree with you that true. You need to know where you want to work to. So it's a good thing, and it's a good thing to know. So it's a different view, but I totally agree with it. So from your experience with internships and attachments, have you really been paid when you're like interning in a company, or what's your take on companies paying or not paying for attachments? Because I know this is I read an article recently about it, that most companies do not pay, and then the students are told, you're getting experience from this company, so even if you're not getting paid, then you should just work for it. So should companies pay for attachments, or they shouldn't?
All right, so definitely my take, they should pay. I've been in a few places of attachment or internship, and few haven't paid. I haven't been in many organizations, but I'm speaking from the point of the few I've been. Yeah. So the one I did in that year didn't pay, but then you see, when I'll give two perspectives. The first one is it's good for companies to pay interns. Yeah. The second is, I think now it depends on you. Like, I think through this discussion, I'll really highlight that you are the one that matters. Like, the world cares, but you matter most. So what I mean by that is, when you're going for an internship, of course, they'll easily let you know whether it's a paid or an unpaid internship. So it depends on where you are. So let's say you're a student and you're sourcing for an internship or attachment, and you have the potential of acquiring one at a very good place, that maybe your dream career or dream place of work. Go for it. At that state, you are thinking in terms of experience. You want exposure, you want your worldview to change from that of just being a student. So in that case, go for any attachment, not the one that you'd want, even if it's not being paid. That way you get to have some good experience. But by the same time, like, let's say you're done with campus, and kindly note that these are just my views and this is how it would work. So after campus, I made one thing very clear. I decided that I'm not doing something called free internship, unpaid internships, or even anything called an intern, because I realized, when you're done with campus, you want to start a life out there. You're no longer a student. So for one, I had this perception that exposure and experience is good, but exposure and experience is not going to pay my bills. True. Especially where you're thinking of, moving out and working out things, investing and doing other things. So you realize that it depends on you. What are you looking for? Are you looking for experience? Then go ahead, take that unpaid internship. Are you looking to grow and move out and, just improve in your finances? Then honestly, as much as you have that exposure, you need the money. So it's being able to know what you want. But my take would be, if you can do unpaid internships, that is, if you have a dream place of work and they have the vacancy to host you, so go ahead and do the unpaid internship. But it all depends on what you want. Do you want exposure, or do you want to grow your finances? Do you want to grow as a person? Yeah, but for me, outside here, once you're done with campus, just source for jobs that pay you, because you really need to keep growing and move, past being a student.